The moment you've all been waiting for. GT40's E-Cam 70mm throttle body, GT40 intake, and this old beat up aluminum radiator. Party time. Okay, so the first step here, we're gonna take this this radiator out, the intake off, cold air intake, distributor, and then the whole front end we'll start taking apart. Okay, we got the radiator out. Didn't make too big of a mess. So let's continue taking the whole front end and intake off. Okay, got most of the front end apart. The rad's out, so we can definitely fit the cam in there now. I gotta take the water pump off and the crank pulley and the harmonic balancer. But I don't have a puller for that, so I'm gonna have to go buy one. Anyway, you can start taking the top end apart. Take the plug wires out and take the cylinder heads off. There's my pile of junk. Okay guys, we got the heads off. I don't know why this side got a bunch of coolant in it, whereas this side doesn't really have any. But either way, everything looks really good under here. Like I said, I need to go get a puller for my harmonic bouncer. So I'm gonna head out and get that. There's a store near me that just rents them out. So, and then we'll start pulling the dog bones off and the spider. And then we'll have to clean all this gasket material off, both sides, even this China wall. Okay, guys, I took the water pump off and then the harmonic balancer. So now we just got to take the whole timing cover off. So one thing you really want to make sure though is that there's a couple bolts. Oh, hold on. You can see better on this side. There's a couple bolts that go into the timing cover from the oil pan. So I think there's 2 on each side here. So make sure you take those off, or else you can either bend your oil pan or crack your timing cover. So okay, check it out. There's quite a bit of slop in this thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. Not sure if this is the original part or not, but yeah, we'll go ahead and replace this piece. It's the whole timing chain. I got one that I bought just in case it needed it. So I'm always getting ahead of myself here. I was getting too excited to pull the cam out, but it's a good thing I didn't. Forgot to take the lifters out. So yeah, back to getting the spider and then the dog bones and the lifters. We'll get those out, clean it up, and then we'll be able to pull it out. I think this is a stock cam, but I'll have a look at it. Someone's definitely been in there before though. Okay, I got the lifters and everything out. This is a trick I got from a channel called Junkyard Dogs. He recommended just to put your lifters like this, and actually pretty handy because then you don't have to put them on a piece of cardboard or something. So anyway, I'm ready to take this cam out. Should just slide right out of here. There's nothing holding it in. So all right, there she is. This cam I pulled out of her. She's actually in fairly good condition here. Pretty even wear on the lobes. Everything looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks like just a stock cam. It doesn't have any stampings or anything. The back side here kind of just says PW, if you can see that. Whereas this cam that I'm putting in, I don't know if you can see it there, but it says E303. So this is what we're going to be putting in. So she's a used cam, but in pretty good condition. Looks like she's just been sitting around for a long time. Really no oil stains or anything like that. So I'm just going to clean her up with some WD-40, and then you want to make sure that you put some assembly lubricant on here. And I have some AMSOIL assembly lube. So yeah, you want to make sure she doesn't go in too dry, or not dry at all. Two things I want to mention. I put some medium strength Loctite on there so you can get them out later. And always use a torque wrench. So this is just a cheap Harbor Freight one. It was like 20 bucks or something. Invest in a torque wrench, that way you don't strip bolts, and that way the next guy can get the bolts out. So when you look at your thrust plate here, it says here back bottom. So what that does is it lines up with this hole right here. This hole right here, which actually sprays oil onto the back of your cam here. That way your cam isn't rubbing on this metal plate. So there's a little film of oil that's always on there. So make sure you get that right. Okay, so this is how the timing chain came in the box from Comp Cams. Kind of disappointed. Actually, it's been bouncing around in here. Kind of weird, but anyway, whatever. One thing I wanted to mention here was there's 3 markings on this thing: an O, triangle, and a square. So the O is the original 0 advance. The triangle is 4 degrees of advance, and then the square is 4 degrees retard on this set. So yeah, 3 different keyways, but I'm going to just set it to the original position, which is the O. Okay, so the way you time these, this dowel right here has to be facing down. Ooh. Straight down like that. And then your keyway on your crankshaft has to be facing straight up. Oh, a little too far there. Right there. Okay, so the keyway is facing the dowel. So that should correlate to your dowel hole facing your 0 or O on your crank gear. Okay, there it is. I got the 2 dots lined up. So what you're doing essentially when you put this straight up is you put cylinder 1 at top dead center. So that lines up your camshaft with those both valves closed. There you go. Now there's no slack at all in this thing. It was pretty tight going on, so that's really good. Okay, so we got the timing chain on, got everything torqued. Well, really only the 1 bolt, but so next we're going to be putting these lifters back in. Make sure you put them in the same spot. That way the lifter bores are worn to the actual lifter itself. And then so the dog bone goes on top, and then the spider goes on top of the dog bone, keep it in place. Next thing is we're gonna put the cylinder heads on, but there's these dowels which are really important. There's 2 on each cylinder head. So there's the first one, and then there's one at the back there. But you can see on this side, it came out with the cylinder head. So we gotta pull it out of the cylinder head and put it back in here. That just helps you align your new heads on the block before you get the bolts started. So you can see this is the old cylinder head here. It actually looks like it's been burning pretty good. But yeah, there's the dowel there that we gotta pull out. It's the only one that stayed in the head. So we'll take some vice grips and pull that out. Okay, I got it out. The vice grips really didn't work actually. Much better to use a little punch and go from the top and you're able to hammer it out. Worked much better actually. Didn't want to ruin this thing to put it on the new head. Okay, we've got the gasket in there. The dowels are all in. Now we're ready to put the new GT40 cylinder head on there.